let's go into the history of pornography. The earliest word most related to the term pornography was about harlots. In fact, one of the earliest documentations of pornography was somebody writing and documenting about harlots. So sometimes when they tell people that, oh, you are acting like an harlot or like a prostitute, or some people will tell you that a porn star is not a prostitute. Really? That's basically what porn is. A porn star is basically a prostitute that is a star. That's basically it. Who is a prostitute? A prostitute is somebody who sells her body for money or favors or something. Those people who sell their bodies in the porn industry are getting money in return. It's prostitution. Now, we find porn is not new. I'm a 90s baby, so I can, that's why I remember that we used to call it blue film. However, in as far back as the 3rd century, we have found stuff on prostitution. If you read a bit about the Roman Empire, you find out that there was a lot of depravity, sexual depravity in the Roman Empire. You find that sexual practices and sex was actually used in worship of many idols. Sometimes Christians tend to wonder why the Bible says don't mix with certain people, or Jews were not supposed to mix with Gentiles. In the Roman Empire, which was the time of Jesus, you find that there was a lot. Please read. Go and check it. Rome had a lot of sexual depravity. So you had a lot of let's even go as far back. Let's look at their art. You find out that many of their sculptures, many of their art was sexually explicit. It wasn't just we're appreciating the human body. Sometimes I hear people say, oh, we're just appreciating the human body. I have never understood it. I am somebody who loves art. I appreciate arts. I love antiques. I love art. But one thing I have not been able to wrap my head around is the idea behind having naked statues. I know statues are not clothed, but the truth of the matter is, why should you have a statue that is carved and all the genitalia and everything is coming out? What exactly are you trying to bring out? You can show us normal human beings. You can depict normal human beings without their genitalia and all of that. It's not. Some are so vivid, they show the contour and everything. What exactly? And everybody, oh, it's carved. It's this one. It's a lie. These people were sexually depraved. Sex was just a thing everywhere there. If you remember, as a Christian, the Jerusalem Council, after the arguments about whether Gentiles who are converted should follow all the laws that applied to the Jews, the Jerusalem Council decided that the solution is instead that they shouldn't eat foods offered to idols. 1, 2, they should abstain from sexual immorality. That's because it was a thing at the time. So we see their old artifacts, paintings, books, poems, drama. I told you I love the arts, so I can tell you that there are certain poems that talk about the human bodies in a sexual light. That's basically, those are the text porn that we're talking about. Now, these things have been found in many cultures. Not, I know as I'm saying, some people will be saying, Americans. It's not just Americans, it's not Europeans. You have this among the Greeks, you have this among the Romans, you find it among the French, the Italians, Japanese, English, American cultures, just a few. In fact, you find out that culture is a way of life of the people. Certain peoples had it as a way of life, and so before Africans will say, "We in Africa, we do," hello, they found I actually saw a picture of an artifact that was found in Egypt. It's from thousands of years ago, depicting sexual intercourse on the materials, and they discovered that it is from Egypt, and it was discovered, and based on analysis and assessment of the materials, how expensive they are, that it seemed that porn was found amongst the wealthy in Egypt. Now, in fact, when you find out in history, when I was reading, I was wondering why you found this depravity amongst the wealthy. Apparently, this thing early on used to be the secret thing that the wealthy used to participate in. And I remember when reading an article, and it was said when the case came up, and the wealthy were like, they did not think that those who were poor could handle it. Yes, that the English wealthy people were saying it, that they did not think that the poor could handle pornography well, because they felt that the brains of these people were not properly developed. They did not have the cranial capacity to handle it, and that pornography was a thing that would affect their productivity. That's the working class. So that will lead many of them to masturbate, which would affect their productivity levels, or make them completely unproductive. So for some weird reason, the wealthy thought that being wealthy gives them a higher cranial capacity, gives them higher brain power. So for them, naturally, they can handle porn, but the poor cannot handle porn. Really? Really? That's a lie. That's a lie. So, from the articles I've read, from the English, old English, even to when they started coming to America and migrating to America, and America was just a young nation at that time. You found the wealthy thinking that the poor could not handle pornography, but they were doing it. So we seem to find that it was a thing that they did in their secret gatherings or whatever, their elite levels, the things that we would think, oh, wealthy people are part of the elitist things that they were doing was porn. You, you know. Now, I need to say this, especially concerning the French. It will give a bit of an idea of something I need to touch. For French pornography, I found out that they sought to transform the ingenue into libertines, meaning the ingenue is a young, endearing, innocent girl or actress. A young actress, or somebody who is trying to be an actress, a young innocent girl, mostly impressionable, who is just coming into fruition, who is still innocent, untouched, untainted, young and impressionable. That's who an ingenue is. And then a libertine is a woman that is completely the opposite. A woman who rejects completely and opposes the norms of the society, especially the moral values of the society. So a libertine is somebody who rejects, opposes, or spurns society's moral values or forms of behavior. So they are more involved in this is how I feel like it. Their physical pleasures. These were the ones that you found doing porn. The libertines were the ones you found with sexual depravity. So when the entire society is focused on purity, these ones will go and do the opposite, and they'll be like, no, we can have, they can have sex, they can do it anywhere they wanted to. I remember when I was growing up, we used to wonder why you'd have whites, in public kissing themselves. It just never, we used to be like, why can't you even do it in the privacy of yours? Then you stand in the middle of the street and you people are lip locking, and we used to wonder, like, ew, that's disgusting. Like, it's immoral. So once upon a time, these things were things that the society frowned upon because of decency. You had children around, but these libertines just wanted to do what they wanted to do, driven by their physical pleasures. And I want what I want when I want it, how I want it. The body wants this, so the body gets it. It doesn't really matter. Moral codes of conduct. What is morality? What am I using it for? So, those are libertines. And the works of pornography, French pornography, as at that time, was to turn the innocent girl, the ingenue, into a libertine. So practically pollute the mind of the innocent, the young, the new fresh girl coming up, to pollute her mind, and then they phrase it as liberty. One day we'll talk about these crazy uprisings that we have these days. You find that the French interlaced pornography with different aspects of their lives. You find pornography in their social or political systems. Sometimes they even use it to protest. Okay, so I remember reading an article when I was doing this research where they were protesting against government, something that the government was doing that they did not like, and they decided to go and to draw nudes. It was porn that was put there, and I was like, I was like, what does this have to do with the fact that you people are fighting for your right or protesting something? They were protesting something entirely, something that they felt was an injustice to people. The fight was not the argument of whether what's it called, whether pornography was accepted or not. No, it's like fighting for reduced increase in gas prices, and saying people's salaries the salaries of the workers need to be increased so that they can do better and live better. And then you're using porn. Please, how do you use porn to protest? So it was so interwoven into their societies. You find porn in so many cultures. So that's basically the history of porn.